think I adjusted and moved the level based on these two equal lows. We were probably just talking about it outright as the low of day from Wednesday. But anyways, stay focused here. 21,330 is the number. If you're over 21,330, right, we have the opportunity for what? A higher low from here to here. And that keeps the inverted head and shoulders alive. From there, you would have to battle for acceptance in the zone. Brigade Bolt over Friday's high gets the longs through the thin structure retracement, and we would retarget this area up here, right? So that's the pathing that I would pay attention to most on the NQ. From the hourly perspective, let's drop it down to the 15. Obviously, a lot of overlap here with what we just described over in the S&P 500. So here we go. Number one, where are we opening relative to the prior day's range? Inside of range. The answer is absolutely. P for patience becomes a virtue. Question number, let's not forget about number 1.5 there, Matt. Whenever we're opening in range, we need to know where we're opening relative to the value area. Value area low is here. Value area high is up here. So for that reason, I would say that we have two neutral indications. You want to use P for patience as a virtue off of this morning's open. And the main premise, right, the whole reason why we talk about 1 and 1.5 is just to gauge the question of whether or not there is shock and awe this morning. Is anybody waking up this morning and saying, oh my God, I can't believe the market gapped up 20 points? No, absolutely not. I have 20 points in the NQ. Geez, who am I kidding? How about 200? Nobody's waking up to a 200-point gap up or down. Prices are very familiar relative to the end-of-day pullback from Friday. So no shock and awe, P for patience as we settle out to start the brand new trading week, the shortened holiday trading week, the final trading week of 2024. Interesting. I'm going to be watching online just to hear about the window dressing comments that are going to be circulating. Oh, everybody wants NVIDIA on their books to end out the year. It's got to be a long, right? I don't really subscribe to that thesis, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Anyways, 1 and 1.5 complete. Let's move along to question number 2. Obviously, this is the overnight range, so there's that. 1 second, folks. I actually do have to... One second, one additional follow-up. Okay, back in business. Back in business. Vinny never texts on his show. Well, you know what Vin does? Vin swears. We don't swear. How about that, Mueller? Yeah, I mean, when you have people like Jerome Powell text you on the regular, you got to answer. I can't leave, J Pow hanging Monday morning at 9 o'clock. That's just irresponsible. So we're back in business. Texts have been sent, being responsible here, trying to at least. And anyways, excuse me. I did swear earlier. I used the ASS word. Oh my goodness. Or as I should say, @$. What were we talking about over here on the NQ? We've been talking about P for patience in the opening for an opening range. Unfortunately, opening underneath Thursday's high of day, underneath this pullback low from the Friday session. So what's the pathing look like now that we've let this settle in here for the last however long it took me to text, right? Yeah, it's fine. Tell me to text faster. Oh, this guy. It's like, I'm sure you guys are trying to picture what it looks like in your head. It's like this guy typing letter by letter with his index finger, holding the phone out in front of his face. That's me, right? Index finger, chicken finger texts. Anyways, let's get into the pathing here. Let's get into the pathing on the NQ. It's 9:03. Oh, we got some ground to cover. Let's get into the pathing. Let's have some fun. Opening underneath Thursday's high means what? Any consolidation in here really means that this is a reasonable outcome. Anything underneath the double trouble. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan and double trouble. If we can get some sort of breakdown underneath the double trouble level, which is right around in here, what's the number to get you that? It's overlapping. It's hard to read. It's at 21,515. 21,515. If we drop 21,515, I think it happens here. Look, little Russian nesting doll. a 5-minute inverted head and shoulders to build out the right shoulder of a 4-hour inverted head and shoulders. And then we'll look for the retracement where obviously your opening print always becomes that target, right? Opening print always becomes that target. I heard today, is it today? I think today is Vincent's birthday. If today is Vince's birthday, then shout out Vincent. Happy birthday to Vince. I don't know if he's tapped into the stream. Sometimes I'll go over there when I'm taking the day off and, stir up the chat a little bit. I don't think he's done that to us just yet. But Vince, if you're out there, or if, I don't know, any of your crew is out there, then happy birthday. Happy birthday. I saw that you had dinner on Jensen. So that was looking pretty nice. Anyways, this is looking pretty solid here. This opportunity down here, I would like longs for the risk reward back up towards the opening print. If we just get opening range, right? Opening range, and you could take the short. Like, this is not to say that it has to, you got to wait for this long here. If you're trying to short it, then, I mean, there is this opportunity. It's at least, there's an idea there for a short, right? I personally don't know that it's my favorite outcome, but it's in existence. It's within the realm of possibility. Let me put a little green dot over here. If we do just get opening range over here, excuse me. If we do just get an opening range here, of course, this is the idea into Friday's high. And this level, did we talk about this level? We didn't. It's wide. It's Thursday's high. It's Thursday's range highs as well. It's the Friday afternoon pullback too. This zone, you're going to have to give it a couple points of wiggle room. I'll try to give you the center here around 21,650. 21,650. All right, 21,650. If that can hold up and we can brigade bolt above that, not bad. Not too shabby. Looking for prior day's high, 21,815. 21,815. All right. And we all know that this level down here is 21. Let me just put this back on the screens. 21,330. Okay. So those are the primary ideas. Obviously, an opening drive that just does this is it's the same concept. It's even more bullish. And if you really want the market to rock and roll, as we were talking about on the hourly chart, any brigade bolts out of Friday's high is like, wowzer, bulls on parade. Bulls on parade, 21,815. So those are the key levels. If the market falls under 21,330, I'm going to have to change my tone. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to be a stubborn bull. I do like to be more bullish than bearish on the broad market in general, but I am not so thick, dense headed that I'm unwilling to change my tone. So underneath 21,330, if we're trading around in this zone down here, it just is what it is. We're going to have to flip a little bit more bearish and less constructive on the V-shaped recovery, right? So those are the ideas I've got for you in the NQ. Hopefully it all makes sense. Hopefully, the top-down approach that we take from the 4-hour to the hourly, you can see why, right? There's a logical reason why we want to be looking for longs around this 21,330 to preserve the higher low that keeps the rebound in force, right? There's logic behind it. The top-down makes sense, okay? Angry face drawing, where's the angry face drawing? Is it hiding somewhere on the screen? There have been times in the past where I've unintentionally made a drawing by, like if I do something that looks like this, I don't think I can intentionally do it. But like I've done something along those lines and it looks like a smiley face, right? Anyways, that's that. Enough about we'll talk about the Picasso skills. Yeah, we'll talk more about the Picasso skills when the time becomes appropriate. I'm most excited. He's out there in the chat, and if he wants to name himself, I'll let him name himself. But someone very, very graciously gifted me a Spotify premium membership. I'm one of those people who's just like too stubborn to pay for things with ads. I never had like Pandora Premium when that was in its heyday, and like Pandora Radio was the thing to have. I never did Apple Music. I always got, LimeWire, downloaded stuff, which again, it's probably a crap thing to do for the artists, but those guys are making millions of bucks. Who am I? Or the 99-cent songs from Apple. That was a thing, right? But I never had Spotify Premium until the other day. Very graciously gifted. And man, let me tell you, it makes the listening experience so different. So different. Just, no ads. It keeps going from God, it's nice. It's nice. It's like the same thing with Netflix. I don't have Netflix. Narith says, let's finish up. YM, please. Oh, come on. Come on. Let's have some fun. It's 9:09. Give me a break. All right, enough about that. We'll jump on over now that the pathing is complete over here. We'll bring out the musical breath, right? The musical breath here in the penthouse spans far and wide. Far and wide. Everything from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble all the way to, of course, the classics. You know, on all sides of the spectrum. We're talking classic rock. We're talking The Doors. We're talking classic rap. That's really the only rap I ever got into. Classic rap, 90s rap, I guess you would say. I don't even know if you would consider that. Is that classic? Is that the right term? Old school? What would you consider like Biggie and Tupac and that era, right? Wu-Tang Clan, Flatbush Zombies, excuse me, had that gritty style as well. All those folks. Anyways, let's do the last 10 minutes here, and then we'll have some fun at 9:20. QQQ 514.85. That's your must hold, especially noting the daily. The daily here over on the QQQ Cash ETF is not as skewed based on the daily here over on the QQQ Cash ETF is not as skewed based on the futures. Obviously, have some premium baked into them with the time value on the contract. So, anyways, this 514.85 has been breached technically on the NQ futures. You just want to continue to use Thursday and Wednesday's low, right? I realize I pointed to them in reverse order, but that's that. If you hold this, great. Inverted head and shoulders that we've been talking about. 514.85 key level for all the reasons we just described. If the market's going to get back into bull, show me consolidation here. This Brigade Bolt's probably tradable into Friday's high. The best bullish outcome would be this over 524.75. So your key levels from top to bottom. 533.25 is a lofty target. That's the thin structure retracement. Friday's high is 524.75. Brigade Bolt and Bulls on Parade over level if we get there. We're not there yet, and the pre-market's opening up a little bit weaker than anticipated, right? If we if we rally to reject 521.25, that sets up the pullback to get to 514.85, in which case we're looking for longs. I do have to change my tone underneath 514.85. That's the defining level. Okay, those are your numbers. Rut check, real quick rut check. What do we have on the 4-hour time frame chart? Also, whenever we talk about music, show me your music recommendations in the chat. Give me your music recommendations in the chat. I will go click them up and I will either add them to the list or I will say, hey, you guys have absolutely awful taste. Okay, one or the other. There's no in between, right? There's no in between. We can talk jazz too, all the classics. Personally, I think what always comes to mind is the Brubeck Quartet, right? Love hearing Take 5. Play me a little Take 5 this morning. Now we're cooking with fire. The Marsalis, I always butcher his last name a little bit. I know the pronunciation gets funny, but the big band, whoo boy. All right, Russ, in this range, I don't think you touch it with a 10-foot pole. I think that it continues to be a bearish headwind for the broad market as long as we're underneath this big zone right here, which is around 23.15. 23.15. All right. Anything that remains below that level gets a little rough. Builds out a bear flag. It keeps this as a failed weekly breakout. And of course, your risk is underneath the prior day's low, Friday's low, which brings you for this move back down here. This, of course, spells trouble for the S&P 500. So please be mindful of that. Please be mindful of that. All right. Did INF the based homie make it out to the show? I don't know if INF the based homie is out here. Is he? INF is here, of course. So Lil B falls into the category.